that you all are well. Brother
All
Philip,
right,
thank
all
you
right.
for coming in. If you
Can
would
you
go
all hear
over
me?
to Mind Spark Creations, we're going to begin the official show,
All right, can
and
you all
we are
hear
up
me?
and going. So I'm going to close down here, go on over to Mind Spark Creations, and we will continue our discussion. Thank you for your patience, family. Love you all much. Peace and blessings.
Test, 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 test.
Lift the chair all the way up.
Test, test, test.
Thank
Testing. Can everybody hear me?
you. All right, let's get some Mind Spark Creations.
All right, test, test. Okay. All right.
All right, you
All
are
right.
live.
Testing. Can everybody hear me okay?
Let's see.
Start recording.
Yes,
All right. Everybody can hear me?
yes, we are
All right.
good.
Cool. All right. Testing. Okay. Just getting this together. All right.
All right, fam.
Sorry, family. Sorry, family. Thank you. You already know how it is with this technology and how sometimes it just don't work the way that it should. So we're gonna officially start now, brothers and sisters. The way we want to start, and we don't own the rights to this music, but we gonna play it. Our dear brother D.A. Smart, he actually did a song for the Millions More movement, and I thought that would be so befitting to play right now. Yep. It was 1995, October 16th, we set the fire. A million black men, we came alive, but there's some things we need to get rectified. Hear me? You can say it was a national call. I we peacefully assembled on Washington Mall. But that's from awesome song, awesome song. All of y'all, look, it's fun, a million women, million moms, million youth, and a million family march, and a million reparations, and a million purpose too. Even though we had a lot of marches, the condition of our people is not improving. A lot of our communities are worse than before. Ain't no time for a march to start moving. We need that ongoing, sustained, constant flow. A divinely inspired thing for the downtrodden, some of us that's bold. Come on, who remember this? Who remember this? Let me hear from you. And if you claim you're a leader, be a leader. Every time people see you, man, be on your post. Let me hear you if you remember that. Type yes in the chat. Otherwise, our lives we have will just demise it. So I'm blowing my trumpet loud to attract the crowd and let them know what the news is. October 14th to the 16th, be in Washington for the millions more movements. It don't matter what set you on, what block, what city you rep from, what folks anywhere in America. The movement that has begun. It's the millions more movement. No matter what church you love, what religion you consider you certain of. You are Muslim, Christian, etc. It's time to put it all under one rug. It's the millions more movement. It don't matter what class you're from. Middle class, upper class, lower class, or none. This time bring your wife, daughter, and son. It's a family reunion. It's the millions more movement. Headed up by Farrakhan. And every organized leader in your area. Join their hands because they seek and they care for us. Show us strength and the power of one. It's the millions more movement. A lot of people be asking smart. Can you tell me what's the reason we've been having a march? First of all, it's not a march, it's a movement, God. And the fact that it's a movement, set it apart. Feel me? From a million man march in 85 and plus. The spirit of the march should stay alive in us. Still living hard like daily life because we still feel we are to wait for why. To give us the solution to our problem. When they part of producing our problem, can't see the solution to solve is we gonna have to solve them on our terms. Can you see where he ain't going with that? It's not a problem with whites, it's a problem with black. And the problem is we gonna take charge of solving because now responsibility is on our back. It's a wonderful thing to think of every black man, woman, and child is safe. Because with that, we can all restrain time for the truth. It's time for me and you.
Oh yeah.
It's time for a movement. Yeah.
Beautiful. All praises
Right,
due
it's
to
time for a
Allah.
movement.
All praises due to Allah.
Beautiful.
I just want to just give you all a glimpse, just for a second, and we're going to jump into our conversation after this. I just want everybody who may be were too young to have been there.
Good evening from Washington, where the
Why
heart of
does
the
this one
capital has
keep
been
coming
filled
on?
today with African American.
Hold on, I don't want to see them. I'm sorry, y'all. This is the one. Okay, I don't know why this don't have no sound. I was just listening to it. Okay, I'll just. It works good that way. Give me a second. I just want everybody to see this. I think this is that one. Come on now. No, no, not that one. Okay, I just want everybody to kind of see. I get it where they actually pan out to that
To the crowd.
crowd. I want y'all to see this crowd. I know they're gonna pan. I don't know why this don't have no sound, but anyway, that's not the one that I want. I get to it, and give me 1 second, family. I don't know why this we having technical difficulty today.
Well, while he's looking for that, fam, we want you all to chime in as well about your experience during the time of the Million Man March, whether you were present, whether you were at home watching it on TV, whether you were at work and people were talking about it. Just go ahead and share your thoughts and what your experience was during the okay, during the Million Man March. I know for
All right.
me, such a wonderful, wonderful experience. And, I'll go into my thoughts on it a little bit later. But if you all want to share your thoughts, that would be so awesome. We would love to hear from you. I know some of the stories that I heard from different
I just want
people.
y'all to see this crowd.
Okay, let's see.
I want you to. Do y'all see that?
Yes, we're
A
seeing it.
sea, a sea of men.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. I just wanted to kind of. I know that don't have no sound, but that's okay. I just needed you all to see that crowd. So for those of you all who may not have been there, you too young to have been there. I wanted you to, at least for a second, to see that crowd. Now I'm gonna turn the mic back over to my beloved wife, and we're gonna start. Ladies is first. So we're gonna start with her on her reflecting on the Million Man March, the holy day of atonement, the day of absence. All right.
Yes. October 16th, 1995. 25 years ago, fam. I know for me, at the time I was married, and the preparation for the Million Man March was actually a movement at that time. I mean, just the preparation as sisters to um, prepare the men to go to the Million Man March. We had to prepare the home front because we knew our men were going to be gone, and therefore we were going to be vulnerable. So, we made sure that we secured ourselves in our homes. And what we did at the time, I remember that day. that morning I got up and I had prepared a meal for my husband to have on the bus, and I had made him a pillow and a nice little bag, for all of his needs. And I dropped him off at Muhammad University in Chicago, where they had buses, where the brothers was getting on the bus, right?
All right now.
And so, I gave him the pillow and the note that I had wrote him, letting him know that I loved him and we backed them 100%, and we were with them and we were excited, So myself and one of the other sisters, Sister Celestine, who had, I think, three children, maybe four, at the time, we went back to my house. And of course, we dropped them off at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, to get on the bus. And so we went back home and we waited. We turned the television on, and I remember we had fixed some farina and some breakfast for the children, and everybody was excited. The energy was high. We weren't going to spend any money that day. We weren't going anywhere. We were in the house,
Yeah.
and we watched that television from the beginning of the Million Man March to the end of the Million Man March. And the joy, brothers and sisters, the joy that was in our hearts and our minds, knowing that our not only the majesty of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan calling that many men, and so many men showing up, and on the television you saw them coming. They didn't just start out with just the Million Man
Right.
March. They
Right.
covered everything, right? So when it wasn't that many people,
On the mall.
on the mall, how it grew over time and just grew and grew and grew. We were so proud of our men. I mean, oh God, you can't even imagine how proud we were. We were excited. And then when the minister began speaking and what he spoke about, and all the speakers that spoke that day, Maya Angelou, and just John Baptiste,
INA.
Allende,
Mm-hmm.
Baptiste. Oh, it was just so beautiful. And the young lady who spoke was actually Sister Claudette Marie Muhammad's granddaughter who spoke. And everybody was so beautiful and filled our hearts and minds. It gave us hope. I think if we didn't have the Million Man March at that time, that we would have, excuse me, we would have we wouldn't have had the hope that we had in the movement that came after that. How many men and women came back from the Million Man March and started adopting children, started going into business, started loving each other just a little bit more, you know? And I know we were ecstatic for me, for my husband at the time, really praying that he would go and get the energy that he needed, to be a good husband, you know. And I think it was a lot of people that had hopes and dreams. I know one sister, Sister Janet, her son said, he said he wasn't going. And she hemmed him up and said, "Oh, you going. You going. You going to be at that march." And it was the best decision that he actually had to make. And I'm sure that was the story for a lot of people. We at the time were struggling financially, but it was like, no, every effort is going toward you getting to the Million Man March. It was so important for the black man to be there because it was the day of atonement. Oh my goodness, I need to. Can you block whoever this is harassing me? Um, Sorry guys. Um, the love and the hope that we have or had. And women today still have that hope in our men that they will atone, that they will take the streets back from the thugs and the criminals, black and white, right? Because that's what it was about. And it was better for a long time, guys. It was better when the men came back. The world had changed because at the time they were planning to kill us wholesale.
That's right.
And that's why the minister even began the um the meetings. Okay, I don't know. Started the men's only meetings. And I know some women got offended. But why would you get offended when your man is going somewhere to get better? You can't be offended, sisters. We got to know that God is on scene and He is making moves to make our men so that we can be better women, right? When you're secured, when your man is able to make sure that you are maintained, that you are taken care of, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually taken care of, then you can be a better woman and you can have more energy and more love and more compassion for your children when you are receiving that love from a man who is following the God, right? So the Million Man March did all of that for me. It was one of the most beautiful experiences that I have to say that I had in my life, to see so many Black men step up to the plate and to hear all of the reports of how much love was in the air, how much energy, and how clean everything was. And, it was just us. If we would be left the hell alone, we would be okay. We would learn how to love one another and remove the hate that has been perpetrated by our enemies. So, that's really what I wanted to share with you all, family. It was just amazing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing another clip of it again today.
Family, as my wife said, and it just really, it really just hit home when she said that they were planning to kill us wholesale. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan went all around the country with the Let Us Make Man series in preparation for the men's only meetings, for the preparation of the Million Man March. And that the Million Man March actually, it didn't come out of a vacuum. Of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had been working since he came in the Nation of Islam. And this was really the culmination of the work that he put in over the many years. And yes, the local organizer committee was a big part of that. And yes, the women that inspired the men to be a part of it was a big part of that. And everybody that helped, we thank Allah so much for each and every person that had a hand in that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend at that time, but I did atone. I was one of those who practiced the day of absence in 1995. I was one of the ones who practiced the day of absence in 1995. We didn't spend any money. We atoned for our wrongs. We got up for prayer. We spent time with our families. The spirit that day was just absolutely magnificent. And to see that everywhere you turned, on every TV station, it didn't matter what TV station it was, everybody was covering
Mm,
the Million Man March, every channel that you
yes.
turned to. And BET was one of the forefront. They actually covered the whole event. BET was actually at the forefront of covering the whole event of the Million Man March. We thank BET. We thank BET. We thank BET for that. We thank Almighty God Allah first and foremost for what it was that He inspired the minister to do. I remember the men's only meeting. I can't remember the city it was in, but he said we should go to Washington with 1 million black men. He said he wanted to pull that thing back when he said it out of his mouth because, of course, at that moment, it sounded like it was possibly sounded like an impossibility. But not only did God bless the effort of the
Mm,
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and all of those that helped, from the brother that passed out flyers to the sister that passed out flyers, and just everybody that was involved with that. I want to thank you personally. I don't care what city you were in. If you came from another country to be a part of that, we thank you
Yes.
for coming, because it was a culmination. It was a day in which we understood it wasn't about our religious philosophies. It wasn't about our divisions and being in this organization and that organization. It was a day of unity. It was proof to the world that we could, in fact, unite. It was proof
That's
to the
right.
world that we could, in fact, stand together, toe to toe, foot to foot, without violence, without crime. For 16 hours, we stood toe to toe, foot to foot. The people that went told me it was so jam packed that if you had to go to the bathroom, they literally had to raise you up and pass you down over to where the restroom was. That's how
Wow.
you couldn't move.
Mm.
But no fights, no nothing, even though the military had prepared, because they thought that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was going to come there and get us to do something against the government, but he didn't come there to get us to do nothing against the government. He came there to get us to do something for ourselves, to
Right.
atone for our wrongs as men,
Mm.
that what we didn't do, to show the responsibility that we didn't take on, the things that we didn't do to change our community. The Million Man March, if you really study that thing, it was the greatest demonstration of love in this modern era.
Yes, sir.
It caused, like my wife said, so many adoptions. Crime dropped. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't one crime in the city of Washington, D.C. that day. Matter of fact, crime dropped all over America. This was the impact of the Million Man March. People registered to vote. People went and joined churches, mosques, and different organizations, as the minister told them to do, to get involved with changing their communities.
Right.
People did that. I remember the day after, every newspaper had that picture
Mm.
of the 2 million men on the front cover of every newspaper, whether it
Yes.
was the New York Times, the Sun Times, the Tribune, you name it.
Right.
The Million Man March was on the front of that paper.
Yes, sir.
Such a magnificent event, you know. If you were there, we would love to hear from you. If you got something that you want to drop in the chat to just tell us something about your experience, please feel free to do that. We'll be looking and watching so that we can share some of your experience, because at the end of the day, family, that atonement process was actually what called us into unity.
Right.
It was the process of atonement. Yes, we call it the Million Man March because over 2 million men showed up. But more so than anything, it was the holy day of atonement. It was the day of absence. We didn't spend a nickel, quarter, dollar, or dime that day. Huh? We didn't, no fighting, no arguing,
Right.
no nothing that day. It was truly peace on us. It
Mm.
was truly peace on us that day. And even if you watched it on the TV, you could see the peace of that day.
Yes.
You
The
had,
love.
go ahead.
No, I'm just adding, the love. You could just see it on the black man's face. It was something that, at that time, it was just not something you really saw among black men when they, maybe family members, but it was a different kind of look on the face of the brothers, um at the that was on that mall. It was just, man, you could feel it through the TV, and they were interviewing people, and they were talking about their different experiences, and how they came together in their cities to galvanize to get to the Million Man March, and gang members who normally would not, of course, even talk to one another because they were at odds
Yeah.
with one another. They came together, to experience something that we truly need in our community, which is that love for one another, love for the brotherhood, love of protecting, the black woman, and unfortunately our own egos and our enemy snuck in, and wanted to destroy that, because when we become united as a community, we don't all have to believe the same thing or think the same way, but as long as we have unity among us, where the mission is the black agenda,
Yes.
it's an agenda for us to come up, for us to be better, for us to have um you know peace of mind, where we're not fighting and killing one another in our community, where police aren't able to come in and shoot and kill us in the middle of the night with no excuse, and then no nothing happens to them afterwards. See, those type of things have to stop. And that's one of the things that the Million Man March showed us. And even with the Millions More movement, when the sisters came together, you know, and we are the ones in the community that did not carry it through. Minister Farrakhan has been consistent.
Beautiful.
He's been
Beautiful.
consistent with telling us and showing us what we can do, but
Yeah.
he's not going to come and hold our hands and make us do it.
Come on now. Come on.
God hold us accountable because God gave him the word. He shared the word with us, and now it's our responsibility to take it to that next level.
That's right. That's right.
Whether Minister Farrakhan is here or not, it does not stop.
That's right.
We still have a responsibility to bring our people together, and our people have a responsibility to come together.
That's right.
Because
That's
we
right.
can stand up all day long and say, hey, here's the right way. Here's a direction that, we should go in together so that we can be one, with the God and one with one another. But we as a people have to stop being so hard headed, stiff necked, and rebellious.
That's right.
Just because we want to be part of this white man's world and get his dollars, which mean nothing, fam. Of course, I don't really like to preach at you. I'm really just talking to us as a whole. The Million Man March was done for a reason. God allowed it and wanted it to happen for a reason, to show us what we are capable of, so that we can see the example in front of us, that not only can it be done, but that it was done.
That's right.
And that if we continue along the lines of joining organizations, instead of now, we're back on our personal islands, of course, Corona. So, hey, I'm not blaming nobody for not going out there and being in the streets like we were before. But we got to be thinking and we got to be planning for the time when we're able to get back out there. What are we going to do? What is your plan
That's right.
when you come out of this house?
That's right.
After you've been in your chamber and you have consulted with the God, and the God has, if you were wise during this time, you've consulted with the God, and the God gave you your direction.
Come on
He
now.
told you where you should go and what you should do when you come out of this situation. So
Yeah.
if you have not made those plans and you've been sitting around bored in the house bored and watching TV and just chilling, then you've wasted God's time. Okay? And we're not trying to waste God's time. We got to make the best of the time that we have. So if you have not been planning what you're going to do in your community, then that is something that we need to start doing and planning, because we're not going to be in these houses always. It's not going to be shelter in place. Coronavirus will take its exit from the type of harm that it's been doing in the community. And then we have to work while it's day,
Yeah.
because night is still coming.
That's
It's
right.
still coming a time when we will not be able to be out there. So when we get this window of opportunity,
Yeah.
we're going to take that window of opportunity, fam, and we're going to make it happen. Don't let nothing and nobody stop you from doing what it is that God put on your heart and your mind to do.
Yes.
The Million Man March should always inspire us to atone to one another, to try to love one another. If we have wronged one another, to say, look, I'm sorry that I offended you. Will you please forgive me?
Wow.
Go to the God, ask the God to forgive you
Yeah.
and to give you the strength to go to that person and ask for forgiveness and then forgive yourself.
Yes. And and also the first person that you offend when you offend somebody is God. And that was one of the first steps of atonement, is that we should actually go to God, because more than anybody, we offended God because
Mm,
that person is a creation of the Most High, and you've offended him first, you know
we.
and we've offended them first. So, I know I can't personally reach out and touch everybody, but if anybody listening here uh, have been offended by anything I've done or said, I would ask Allah's forgiveness, and I ask yours, and I do mean that sincerely, and even if I have not, that's the thing. It went to show us, family, that we can unite, and that when we unite and not only come together and stand together, but when we unite and we strike the economics of this country, the country absolutely feels it.
Right.
Because when we didn't spend any money for those 24-hour periods of time, stores were absolutely ill affected by that one day, that day of absence. A
Mm,
lot of those stores felt that, because whether we know it, understand it, or believe it or not, we are a huge part of the economic backbone of America, and they rely on our consumerism to
mhm.
uphold their very lifestyles that they're living.
Right.
Look, family, brother Ben on his show, Walaikum Salam, Sister Denise. All praises due to Allah from the UK. Allahu Akbar. Well, look, family, let me just say this. Brother Ben had on his show the other day a man who called in. And the man called in and he said he had a Muslim, a Christian, a Hebrew, and a brother who practiced the Kemetic science, and he needed help with moving some boxes
Mm,
to his destination. And they all came, and he was going to pay them the monies to help him to do what it was that he needed to do. He said he left for a minute because he had to go and actually pick up some things. He came back and everybody was arguing about their religion and the way they saw it and everything like that. And the box, inside the box, unfortunately, the brother was, I guess he worked with the abortion clinics. Inside the box was actually aborted fetuses that he had to get rid of. He had to take them to whatever center that they take them. But he said that they were arguing about the religion and everything like that, and they couldn't even unite to make the money that they needed for themselves. And then he said that unfortunately, most all of them was in the same economic condition, and the ones that he got, they all needed pampers and stuff for their children. So my point in bringing that story up is, family, trying to be divisive over who's a Christian, who's a Muslim, who's a Hebrew, who's this, who's that. We have to find the ground. That's what the Million Man March told us.
Right.
The Million Man March told us that we could find the ground to unite on,
Mm.
and that we could come together as a people. The Million Man March showed us absolutely and completely when 2 million men stood on that mall representing their families. So we don't really officially know at all how many people actually engaged in the Million Man March, the Holy Day of Atonement,
Mm.
the Day of Absence. We really don't know that number.
Right.
We really don't know who all participated, but it was people of every philosophy, of every religion, of every type of lifestyle, rich, poor, famous, all of that. You had great powerhouses in that march,
Right.
and we all saw the power of that day. We all saw the power of that day. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that our unity
Mm.
is more powerful than an atomic bomb. I just want to drop something out here really quickly. In America, there are 50 million black people in America. And some of our wealthy people have billions of dollars. So think about what I'm saying. If they utilize their wealth, they could give every black person in America $1 million and change the condition overnight in regards to financially. But you don't see that because, like my wife said, we get on our own islands. Let me tell you this: if you are a person of great substance, God didn't give you that substance just for you and your family and your generations. He blessed you with that so that you could help yourself, your family, your people, and those in the world that need it.
Right. Absolutely. What good does it do you, to go out and spend 10,000, $100,000 on a party, and your people suffering the way that they are in the community? But I think, you know, one of the things that so many of our people do not see, I don't think they see the danger that we are in
Come on.
and the urgency to change our minds and change our condition. Yes,
Okay.
it's working. I don't know if we really perceive the danger, or if we perceive the danger and we're acting like ostriches and sticking our heads in the sand,
Right.
trying to ignore the obvious. There is an elephant in this room,
Yes.
fam. And and a lot of people unfortunately think, oh, those Muslims, they're always gloom and doom. They're always talking about the end and, yeah, the end of the wickedness of this world. But unfortunately, because it is the end of the wickedness of this world, they're doing exactly what scripture said. They want to take us down with them.
Come
They
on
want
now.
to steal our inheritance. God came and said that he wanted us to be his people,
Come
and
on
he
now.
wants to be our God.
Come on now.
And we are rejecting God himself, fam.
Come on now.
My point. I don't want to, I want you to understand how serious that is, but at the same time, I want you to see the danger that we're in, and that and know that God would never leave us in this hour. So many people, have lost faith and think that God is not backing us, or God is not with us anymore, or he's ignoring us and he's given up on us. No, God came for us.
Yes.
But he showed us a way, and he said these are the conditions in
Yes.
which to change your condition.
Look at that. That
But if
word.
we are not willing to change our minds, change our conditions, even if you don't like Minister Farrakhan. You cannot disagree with the facts that he brings forward.
Come on now.
The fact is they killing us from every angle that they can.
Yes.
And we sitting around worrying about sport and play and things that don't matter. This election does not really matter. And you know why? It doesn't matter to me. Because we've caught hell from every last one of them that's been in office,
Come on.
including Barack Obama.
Come on
And
now.
I don't want my mama to be mad at me because she loved her some Barack Obama.
It's all right.
And he was a cool looking, black man in the White House and, with Michelle, beautiful, and the children. But the fact of the matter, our condition has not changed.
Come on
We
now.
were still being killed in the street.
Come on now.
What, he invited some people to the White House to have a beer after something had happened with
Yeah, I forget the name of the brother. It was historian and a police officer. I
you
remember
know
that.
so our condition has not changed, and it's only getting worse. And not only is our condition getting worse, but the weather is getting worse. So what do you think when a flood comes through your community? Who coming to fix it up?
Come on now.
You waiting on FEMA? You waiting on Red Cross? No, black man, black woman, we the ones that has to do that. So
That's
we
right.
should be learning CPR. We
That's
should
right.
be learning disaster
Come
preparedness.
on now.
We should be learning how to provide, because Minister Farrakhan has warned us as a faithful warner
Come on
to
now.
us time and time again, fam. It's not on him.
That's right.
It's not on the man of God. It's on us.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so many of us are going to suffer the consequences of our actions because we refuse to move forward. We refuse to recognize that God has come. Our parents knew. They left us a hard road, but God didn't leave us anything greater than what we can overcome. We are God's children of the Most High God. We are constitutionally fit
Come
and
on now.
prepared for this hour.
Go
We
ahead.
just got to have it bought out of us. And you know what? Sometimes black folks like to wait to the last minute, and then we show up and we show out, and I pray that that's the case because it looks pretty bad, fam, that the majority of us are lost in the sauce. And as my husband was talking about the finances, when Cardi B came on with that WAP, right? And she said, there are artists out here that's giving positive rap, but y'all not flooding their page. Y'all not buying their videos. Y'all buying my stuff.
Come on now.
So not only are we making her rich with her filth, we're making her producers rich with their filth. All the other people that get paid, which is probably hundreds and thousands. I know when I go to watch the movies, all them credits is going up and down. There's a lot of people,
Right.
but they're getting paid from us for their filth so that we can have more filth put on us. No, we have to support righteous men and women. Support those small black businesses that are trying to bring you quality products and not bring you garbage or cheap products from China that you pay $1 for. Yeah, you want to go to the dollar store. But what's in them? What's in that product that's destroying you? We got work to do, fam. Let's be inspired by what the Million Man March brought to us. It brought us a whole new world, a whole new vision of what the possibilities can be. But we can walk into those possibilities by our actions. We have to be inspired. Now, my son was not born until 1999. That was a good year, right, y'all?
Absolutely.
It was
And
actually it was a medium year.
no,
It
you
was a
just
It was
got
great
actually,
year.
here. You just got. We was partying like it was
no, they
1999.
thought the war was going to end in 1999.
Yes, they did.
Computers and everything. It was like a balance.
Yeah. So I want him to share with us his thoughts. On well, of course,
He went
not
to the million
necessarily
more movement and
Yes,
right.
support 10
2005.
10
So just
15.
what all of that means to you as a young man in 2020.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I agree with everything that my mother and my father said about the Man March, and my personal take on it is that it's definitely a time of repentance. And the ultimate thing that I'm reflecting on today is the first step. You actually have to really look at yourself. You have to stop trying to blame everybody else and everything around you for your problems and actually deal with yourself. And a lot of times, a lot of people, me included, don't want to deal with ourselves. We actually want to, not look at what we did in the past or, what other people did to us and, analyze that and overcome it. And because one of the steps of atonement is you have to admit you're wrong. So I know I have to get better. We all do. With our defense mechanisms coming on. Oh, you said I did this wrong. No, I ain't do that. I ain't never did that. And you like, you lying. But you have to admit the wrong, and you have to apologize for it, and you have to forgive yourself as well after the other person forgives you. Because that's the one thing we as Black people don't do. We do not forgive ourselves at all, even if we forgive other people. And you have to be able to forgive yourself, and you have to, of course, ask Allah for forgiveness first,
Right.
and then you do the other steps of atonement, of course.
Yes, sir.
But like I said, it meant a lot to me because I remember when I was there,
Millions more movement.
that the Million movement in 2005. My dad, I wish we actually had the book of the pictures actually, but it was big and it was a lot of people and it was very inspirational. But I was young and I kind of wanted to I wanted to leave. I'm sorry, I kind of wanted to leave. I'm like, Dad, can we go home?
Yes.
I was that was not a good moment, but other than that, it was actually good because as I continued to listen to the minister in that Men's Movement 2005, it was inspirational. I got to go back and listen to it, and we just went back and listened to 10, 10, 15. That one, I was like, I was really excited, and I definitely wanted to be there. And that was, oh my god, it was so many people. You could barely. We didn't have to. It wasn't to the point where you had to, with people's lifting you up to go to the bathroom or anything. But I mean, you had to really walk through the crowd to get anywhere.
Yes, sir.
But the minister said was inspirational. And then as I kept looking in 2015, 10, 10, 15, it was really a precursor. A lot of stuff that's going on, and there was a precursor to what's going on in 2020. Because first, he's behind the glass, and he said, I don't like being behind the glass, right? And I'm like, then in 2020, because, COVID, he actually had to be behind the glass. And then he told us, and this is, I know this is something that's controversial, but I mean, he didn't told us he had wives for the longest. Sorry, I'm sorry. Um, but sorry, I was just analyzing how it's a precursor. Um, and like my mom said, we made a lot of progress in 25 years.
We really have. It shows because of those experiences, the Million Man March, the Millions More movement, and then 2015. All those people desire to have something better, right? All of us desire to have something better. And so there is a portion of us that strive. And I think the more that we continue to work with one another and, stay positive, there's always going to be um, a small group. Even during the time of Noah, during the time, they were very, very small groups that actually ended up surviving, because of the condition of the mind. But we are now at the point where we are 100% dissatisfied
That's right.
with the current world.
That's
So
right.
that means a 100% change
Right.
has to come. And that means the kingdom of God is being established. And I think we have to stay focused on that and realize that God's enemy, the devil, the Caucasian white man, his world is failing. His world will no longer exist. We will not always deal with white supremacy, right? We're not going to continue to accept the murder of men and women in the street like animals. That time has passed. And now, fam, it's up to us. It'll continue if we allow it, but we have to come together on a common ground. There's this thing called a consensus, right? So something is presented, and then there's basically a vote, and then whoever has the majority of the support, then everybody else has to get behind it, whether you agree with it or not. Is it sound? Does it show results? Right? So, the program of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and if you have an opportunity, look at the back of the Final Call newspaper and look at what it is that we want and what it is that the Muslims believe. And if you are in accord with that, right? If
Hmm.
you can agree with 85 to 90% of what's on the back of that Final Call newspaper, then the only thing we're asking is your support in getting it done.
That's right.
No one is asking for you to believe exactly the way that we will believe. Over time, you will see and you will understand that what we're telling you is from God and is the truth. But if right now your understanding is not there, that's okay, fam. Just believe in the God, right? The one God that is over all of us. And then let's go to work and build a better community for ourselves. Let's go out, clean up your neighborhood. There's nothing wrong with getting some garbage bags and some gloves and knocking on your neighbor door and say, hey, we going out and cleaning up the neighborhood today.
Hmm.
Knock on the door, brother. We're going to be doing security tonight over our community because there's been some drug dealings going on the block, and we don't want that here. So we're going to come together, fam, and we're not going to have no fear because we're going to walk in faith and we're going to do what it is that we said we were going to do. We were going to atone for the wrong that we did by not doing anything.
Yeah.
And those are the changes that need to be made and the inspiration that we should be receiving from the Million Man March and the Million More Movement.
I just want to say this as well. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan set up the nine ministries. And the nine ministries really gave the ability for us to work in our selected fields to do what we were going to do to help in the forward movement of our people. So if you're in the health, you would be in the ministry of health. If you're into investigating things, you will be in the ministry of information, with ministry of technology, the spiritual ministry, you know, those ministries, if you go back and do that study, that those ministries are really the groundwork that everybody can actually work together in
Mm,
to be able to move forward with what we want to do.
right.
You can be a part of those ministries in your church, in your mosque, in your temple, or wherever you are, but understanding that the whole is more important than just your particular mosque, church, synagogue, that we're fighting for the whole of our people, and that we have to find that common ground that we can unite on, and that common ground is the oneness of God. That common ground is what we see, the suffering we're actually enduring right now. We see what's going on. These things are not just going on in America, they going on all over the planet where black
Mm,
folks are.
right.
These same type of things. It's just not reported, or we're not looking at it as we should, but we're all going through that. And as my wife said, the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is what we really need to be uniting behind, because this marching for jobs and justice, we've done that. But the reality is we need land.
Right.
We need a means to be able to provide and do for ourselves in an environment without other people's influence, because that is the only thing that's really going to change this thing around. We have to be separated. I know a lot of people don't like that word, but Jesus said he came as a separator. The Holy Quran talks about separation. Separation don't mean hate nobody.
Right.
Separation means that we're off to our own selves, building our own world, doing our own thing. When you go to Chinatown in your city, in your country where you are, it's one there. They're not hating on you. They're building their own thing. And that's what we have to realize. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote in one of the books, self first
Mm,
and then others.
right.
And we have to understand that we trying to do everything for everybody, but we're not addressing what's going on with us. And we have to address what's going on with us. The health disparities among us is the highest pretty much wherever we go. The arrest rate, the lack of finance, all of these conditions go all around the board. If you look at it, no matter what countries we're in, most of us are experiencing the same things,
And it's by design.
and it is by design. And what will change it is our unity.
That's right.
What will change it is not only our unity and standing together in numbers, but our uniting our dollars, our nickels, our quarters, our dimes, and then bringing about the changes that we want to see. We have the ability to change this thing if we truly desire to do it.
Right.
We spend $1.6 trillion into this economy
Every
in
year.
America. Why can't we turn around and build cities? Why can't we turn around and build factories? Why can't we turn around and do farming? Why can't we
Mm-hmm.
do these things? We can do it if we would unite, and in that we would create jobs,
Right.
in that we will create educational opportunities, in that we will create the things that we need to get free. We can't depend on these governments. And in our doing for self, the governments will have to rally behind it after a time, because you get it in the scripture where Pharaoh heard, one of the pharaohs heard Joseph and put him over the treasuries of the land. That's a sign for us that if we go ahead and begin doing for ourselves, then what we're doing there come behind it. Here's a snapshot of that. In Chicago, because of the work that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing, the Richard Daley Senior, I believe it
Right.
is. Yeah,
Right.
Richard Daley had the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Day, where he honored the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for the work that he was doing among us as original people. You can look it up. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad Day. They actually honored him for what he was doing and how he was transforming the South Side of Chicago. See, this is what I want us to look at and understand. And I'm going to pass the mic over.
Well, no,
Okay, with this, the economic blueprint of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not just a history lesson. It is a blueprint that we can follow over and over again and reduplicate what it is that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was able to achieve. We had our own bank. We had our own schools. We had our own transportation. We had our own where we were trading with other countries. These are the things that we need to be doing.
well, if I can add this, and then I know we're past our time and we didn't get to put the video on, because this is such a great topic to talk about the inspiration of the Million Man March. But it was the men and women who backed the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a word, and that word is and was at that time from God, right? But it took the men and women and the conditions that surround them to move out on that word to make things happen. And I think one of the things right now that we're as a people aren't really moving out on the word in the manner of that we really believe and know that God is with us. And I don't know if that is the actual stumbling block that's preventing us. I mean, there's a lot of businesses opening up. The problem is they're individual businesses, and we're not backing one another in the effort to build that business up. We don't want to stay a small business forever. You want to be the Walmart. We want to take over that market when it comes to our community with our products in the store.
That's right.
So products from, you know, a brother or sister who makes whatever they make, and if they're making the lip gloss and the personal care items, that we use those personal care items and we put it in our mark, right? The
That's
black mark,
that's
whatever you want to call it, and then we become that place that we go to. Right now, Walmart on a daily basis, I'm sure make billions of dollars every day. Why can't we do that, you know, in our community? This is how we have to move. We have to get back to the point where we go and negotiate with Peru to bring in our own fish,
that's right.
right? Or that we go and we're supporting Dr. Ridgely so much with the farm that he's able to not only feed the South, but he's able to ship. Hey, if they can ship some food from Australia or from Sweden or wherever, we can ship some food from Georgia, to Arizona, so that we can have a farmers market here, but not just some small local farmers market. I'm talking about a farmers market like they got in Atlanta at the
Yeah.
DeKalb Farmers Market.
Right.
Okay, so at least that's the level that I'm really trying to envision for us as the people, that we're doing things on that level and growing. The minister in the was it 1010 we was listening to yesterday,
Yeah.
where he talked about how many slices of bread we eat and how much wheat we would need, and then how much earth we would need. Those are the levels we need to be thinking on, fam,
That's right.
because it's about all of us who want to survive and establish the kingdom of God and remove ourselves from an environment that is literally killing us daily.
Yes.
Literally killing us daily. So, honey, did you want to still play the video? It's like 9:40.
No, we're going because we got another show.
Okay.
But what we do want to do is we want to invite you all to atone with us on October 16th. So the holy day of atonement is still going on, and we still are practicing those principles on October the 16th, but they're not just to be for that one day. The Holy Day of Atonement is a process that really is continuous until we become one with the God and one with ourselves. So we want you to partake in the Holy Day of Atonement. No school, no work, no no playing that day. We're praying. We're atoning for the wrongs we've done to one another. We're building that family. We're not eating from sun up to sundown. We're fasting on that day. We're fasting from sun up to sundown. We're atoning one to another, apologizing to God. We're praying on that day. And that's on the 16th. And then on the 18th, on that Sunday, we're going to come together on www.noi.org, and we're going to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Million Man March, the Holy Day of Atonement, the Holy Day of Absence. We invite you to do that. We invite you to. And if you don't have this wonderful issue of the Final Call newspaper with that beautiful picture of the 2 million men on it. If you here in Tucson, I want to be the one to get it to you. But if you're not here in Tucson, adopt you a beautiful Muslim that can get you that paper. But if you don't know no Muslims and you don't see the Muslims, you just don't, then go to www.digitalfinalcalldigital.com. That's right, www.finalcalldigital.com, and get your digital subscription. You don't want to miss one issue of the Final Call because it's unbought, uncompromised truth. Brothers and sisters, it's unbought, it's uncompromised. I'm so proud to be a representative of the Final Call newspaper because I can rely on the truth that is in that paper. I don't have to worry about looking in it and saying, well, that might not be right, or what y'all said about this and this, that, and the other. I don't have to do that. I can give you that paper with pride. I can give it to you with joy, knowing that it's 100% truth in that Final Call newspaper. I thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan restarting that, following the instructions of our Father, the eternal leader of the Nation of Islam, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in creating the Final Call.
Right.
So if you don't have it, please get it. Also, join us again on Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time at www.noi.org, as you and I and we will continue to be atoning. Please join us and make that a part of your process. Tonight, there's going to be an event live on Facebook as well, talking about the Holy Day of Atonement. So, all the way up into the 18th, there are going to be several different events. And if you go to themillionmanmarch.com, or I believe it is, themillionmanmarch.com. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
I think it's themillionmanmarch.com. We're actually going to show in its entirety the Million Man March on October 16th at 4 p.m. Pacific time on VON TV. So you can look at that VON TV. You can look for them, watch it in its entirety. But we're going to be premiering it as well on Farrakhan in Tucson, live on Facebook at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're going to be up looking at Facebook or you want to hear it, it's going to be in its entirety as well on Farrakhan in Tucson. That's our platform that we're using to spread the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
So if you haven't liked that page, you haven't subscribed to that page, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. We try to bring in not only the word that we get from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but the nation is many things. So we bring in conscious Muslim rap artists. We've got the violin concerto from Mother Tanetta on there. We try to bring in every show from all the Muslims, Closing the Gap, the relationship series, Brother Ben X. We try to bring on all those positive things and put it right there on one page that you can actually go and look at it yourself. So, brothers and sisters, we have thoroughly enjoyed our time with you. Please join us at 10:30, which is about 45 minutes from now on Love My Kidneys. We're going to be talking about the symptoms of chronic, yes, symptoms of chronic kidney disease and the things that we can do to help with those symptoms, like the itching and the pain and the different things that go on as my wife is healing from chronic kidney disease. Brothers and sisters, join us there. on Love My Kidneys Live on Facebook as well. We thank you so much for your time. We thank you so much for your attention. We pray that if you're not hearing it now, you're hearing it later. Forgive the technical issues, but brothers and sisters, we thank Allah for the Holy Day of Atonement, the
Yes.
Million Man March. My son actually dropped the YouTube link in there, I believe, where you can actually go and watch the Million Man March for yourself. Again, you can tune in and watch it on VON TV. You can also come to Farrakhan and Tucson on the city. That's at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Farrakhan and Tucson. You can watch it at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, brothers and sisters, may Allah continue to bless you and your families, and know that you are not forsaken, that God is right there with you in your corner. He is working out your salvation, but we have to do our part.
That's right.
We have to do our part. So let's love one another. Let's atone with one another. Let's be a blessing to one another. We can do this. Let us unite and build a mighty nation.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. May Allah continue to bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Share, share, share. We love you. There's nothing you can do about it, as our brother Jake says. And please, if you don't do nothing else, remember this: to continue to let the spark in your mind create a new reality. Assalamu
Assalamu alaikum,
alaikum.
fam. Love you
Thank you,
all.
thank
Have a
you,
great
thank
day.
you. Have a great
Be
day.
the best because you are the best.
That's right.